815.
I don't know how familiar you are with Morse code. As I readjust my office here, I'm still getting used to this setup here. Oh, that's what happened. My camera came loose. Hold on. Call technical support. There we go. That's awesome. All right. Dash. I don't know if you're familiar with Morse code, Tom, but dash is the letter U in Morse code. So we will rock you by the band Queen. That's literally rocking the letter U. Dash. I'm Greg. He's Tom. This is your In Crowd 815 podcast for the 6th day of June, the year 2026, the latest it's ever been, my friend.
In the history of mankind, the only Morris I know is Morris the cat, and I love Morris the cat. So that's it.
Wasn't he selling food or snacks?
9 lives, man.
That's not
9 lives cat food.
There you go. Thank you, Morris.
There's also Morris Albert. Feelings.
Morris Day and the Time.
Feelings. Oh yeah, that's right. Morris Chestnut, actor.
On today's show, famous Morrises. All
that's right. All Morris, all day.
We'll find out if any of our guests today have a middle name of Morris. That's one thing that's a mystery to me. We don't know. We're going to be talking with Chris Brown with the Knights of Columbus Council 13123. I think I got that right here in Rockford. And we're also going to be talking with Haddon Anderson. He runs the Stateline Youth for Christ. But first, before we get into all that stuff, we need to take care of a little bit of business first, like this. Our current race to 10. This could be it. I'm in the lead by a score of 9-7 over Tom. And our big number of the week this week, it's a big one. It's 3.5 billion. And is the answer Geek or Grogu? You notice something about the graphic, Tom?
What about the geek part?
What's conspicuously missing from this graphic?
Oh gosh, I don't know.
Well, yeah, you'll notice that only the word Grogu is showing up.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, so when I asked AI to create this image for me, it said, no, we can't do that. We can't use licensed third-party images because Grogu is basically Baby Yoda.
Right.
So yeah. and it said, no, we can't do that for you, sir. Try again. So I said, okay, please just put the word on there instead of the image, because I still want the word on there.
Yeah. Well, I sent mine in. You'll like what I sent in. So
I didn't even look yet, and I already know what it says.
Yep.
All right. Well,
it's either Veek or Grogu, one of the two.
Yeah.
Long story for the guests listening. Anyway, just an inside thing.
It's an inside joke. You'll have to go back about 10 episodes, maybe 11. I don't know. I don't remember which episode that was.
No. Oh no, that's almost a year ago.
That?
Oh yeah.
Was it that long ago?
Oh yeah. When you were Vulking. Yeah, Vulking or whatever. I don't even know.
It was some Russian thing, but anyway, let's go ahead and bring our first guest on. What do you say?
Yeah.
Our first guest is part of the Knights of Columbus Council, and I think the number, if I have this right for Chris, it's council number 13123. Let's see if I got it right. Chris will tell me if I got it right or not, but they're out of the Holy Family Church here in Rockford. And Chris Brown, welcome to the In Crowd 815 podcast.
Well, good morning, Greg, Tom. Yeah, thanks for having me. Yes, you are right. Sadly, Morris is not my middle name, but Morris the cat takes me back.
Yeah, there you go. I love Morris the cat.
He was a pretty hip cat, wasn't he? Pretty hip cat. I don't remember.
Right.
Anyway,
Garfield,
if I recall, those commercials were always fun.
The commercials, they always had, always had a good time with the 9 Lives commercials. Well, let's drop Morris and let's pick up Chris and let's learn all things Chris Brown. Are you a native Rockfordian? Where did Chris grow up?
Well, I grew up in San Diego, California, of all places. So born and raised.
Wow.
I came out here for Rockford College back in the 90s. You can apply for free if you come visit. And of course, my mom said, "Oh, you're going to meet someone and get married." And no, mom, that'll never happen. And wouldn't you know it, last year of school there, met the woman who would become my wife, Christine, and she and I were in a class together, and took me all semester to work up the guts to talk to her, but finally did, and the rest is history. So we've been living in Rockford full time since 2015. We were out in the suburbs for about 10 years before that.
Okay. Okay. So San Diego, what was your high school and your high school mascot?
Chula Vista High School Spartans. So
The Chula Vista High School Spartans.
yeah, if you've heard of the show Saved by the Bell, Mario Lopez is probably our most famous alum.
Okay. Okay. Good old Mario
okay.
Lopez.
Sorry, I
can we
was
make fun of
reaching.
Spartans?
I had to grab my favorite coffee cup. I literally got this in San Diego when I was out there about 10 years ago.
Wonderful.
My dad and I and my wife and my kids, we all went on a bucket trip of a lifetime. My mother-in-law was supposed to book us a timeshare near the big trees. What do you call them? The sequoias.
Torrey Pines.
She misunderstood. My wife said San Francisco, near San Francisco. She booked us in San Diego. Anyway, it was a fortuitous mistake because San Diego is the most incredible place I've ever been to in my life. Okay, I'm all done. Go ahead.
Well, when it's sunny and 75 every day, right? It's kind of hard to beat.
Right.
It was unbelievable. Coronado Island. Coronado Island, I think, is also named Heaven. I'm not sure, but anyway.
Fun fact about Coronado, it's not actually an island, it's a peninsula, but that's just what they call it.
Okay. Sure, spoil it for me. No.
The locals
they
call it that too. So.
Yeah, they call it Coronado Island, right? Isn't that what you're saying
Right.
or not? Or the
Yeah,
locals
absolutely.
call it a peninsula, but it's labeled
No,
Coronado
we
Island.
call it Coronado Island, even though geographically it is a peninsula.
Okay.
I didn't know that. Fun fact
but
today.
the bridge you take to get to it, doesn't that make it an island because there's no other access, right?
Well, there is. So if you take the Bay Bridge across the water, and if you drive down the Silver Strand, which is that really long strip of road, it connects up with Imperial Beach to the south. So it is, to the south that connects to the mainland.
Okay. Well, there you go. I'm going to have to go back and investigate. That's all there is to it.
This is going to become a trivia question for Tom's Trivia at some point.
I'm putting it in today.
True or false? Coronado Island is not really an island. Go. All right. So, so for those who, I guess, before we get into all things Knights of Columbus, you get to move to Rockford. What you go to college here, and then you stay here. Thanks to love. I raised my hand. I'm in that category too. I'm a transplant from Cheeseland up in Wisconsin. So, what was your career arc? What did you do out of college, and what are you doing today?
Yeah, so I initially wanted to be a teacher. So I was at the age where I wanted to transfer away to school for the undergrad. And when I came back to San Diego, I went to San Diego State University to get my teacher certificate credentialing out of the way. And I was told when I was in undergrad, I want to do history, right? I like history. And they said, no, don't do history, do social science, because history is just a social science, and you'll be more marketable as a teacher if you have social science. Well, fast forward several years when I'm actually trying to become a teacher. I wasn't a coach. I didn't have a math background. All the teachers, the new teachers were, coaches. They had math backgrounds. It was like you had to be a Swiss Army knife of a teacher. So I sort of got discouraged with all that. And so I ended up trying to figure out what I wanted to do. I ended up getting a master's degree. I was working for a college at the time, and my master's degree is in educational technology, which is what teachers do. And, back when I got my degree, it was the internet. Have you heard of it? It's this great tool. It's technology. And we've come so far since then. But I'm fortunate enough to work for an online nursing college out of Salt Lake City, Utah, called Nightingale. And they have students all around the country, and they are primarily remote for their employees. And the way of the future is virtual reality. You probably heard of that back in the day. But they do things to teach. How do you teach a nurse to do the job if you can't physically be everywhere at once? So you have virtual reality goggles, and boom, you got yourself a virtual scenario, and you can teach and learn that way. So I'm really blessed and fortunate to be a part of that. And so it really leverages my background in technology and learning and teaching and learning. And it all worked out. So that's where I am currently. And I'm just very fortunate. I get to work from home.
So how many years ago was this that you started to do the virtual reality teaching?
Oh, well, I've been with them just for the last few months at Nightingale, but as a classroom teacher, that goes back over 20 years. So, I've seen the classroom change a little bit over that time. And, not to get into anything local, but, the public school system everywhere, it suffers. And it's hard to be in an environment like that, because there's only so much you can do to help, as just one person. But I'm definitely an advocate for learning, and you want to make yourself better, and don't stop at high school. Go to college,
Right.
trade school, whatever it is. Better yourself, make yourself a more marketable person, because the future happens very quickly, and if you're set up for it, then you can definitely navigate those waters much more easily.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Thankfully, there are so
because
many
I am the
educational
yeah,
self what?
because I am the self-titled king of the squirrel. Were you at San Diego State University with Marshall Falk at any time?
No, he was before my time, but he's definitely a
Okay.
legend.
Oh yeah, definitely.
The
Been 10
great
years
Marshall.
before you.
Probably, at least, yeah.
Time slips away, man. Time slips away. So, all right. So, you're in Rockford for a while now here, and when does the Knights of Columbus come into your world, and what do you tell people when they ask you, what does the Knights of Columbus do?
So I remember the Knights of Columbus going back to, when I was a kid after Mass, Sunday Mass, they would do pancake breakfasts, and you'd see them around at different events. If it was a special occasion in the church, you'd see them wearing the full regalia with the big feather plume hats. Spoiler alert, we don't wear the feather plume hats anymore, but you will still see Knights of Columbus around out and about. Every fall, we do our Tootsie Roll Drive out in front of stores. You'll see us wearing our yellow vests. We're raising money for intellectual disabilities and things like that. We give a lot of money to our local agencies like Milestone Inc., Barbara Olson Center for Hope. Anyway, coming to Rockford, my wife's uncle is a realtor. And as we were looking at houses in Rockford, he said, you ought to join the Knights of Columbus. And I was like, oh yeah, sure. One of those things where I would always say, oh, I'm too busy for that. I have no time for that, which is not really true. It's just what you tell someone when you're not really interested. Yeah. And he just kept reminding me periodically, not every time I'd see him, but, a couple times a year or whatever. And finally, I turned to my wife. I said, what if I join? It's not that big of a deal. I'll give it a try. If I don't like it, I won't stick around. It's free to join, whatever. So that was about 5 years ago now. And so I decided to join because Holy Family's our parish. That's where we were sending our kids to school. Our daughter still attends there. And I just decided to join. What do I have to lose? And so it's kind of hard to encapsulate. I mean, I can give you the history lesson, which is boring. You can read about that on the website. But for me personally, it boils down to getting involved in serving, giving of your time and your energy, being a part of something bigger than yourself, knowing that there's over 2 million Brother Knights around the world. There are over 18,000 local councils that are tied to either a parish or a local area. It's a chance to serve the parish, the diocese, the local Rockford community, Illinois State, all these things. I mentioned the Tootsie Roll Drive, but we also do things like it gets cold here in the winter, especially for a guy like me who's not from here. You get used to that real quick. But there's a lot of folks that they struggle with various challenges in their life, and one of the last things you want someone to worry about is, are you warm enough in the winter? And so our council and a lot of other ones, we have a drive in the fall called Coats for Kids. And so last year we were able to raise 400 coats, and we donated them around Rockford. And so St. Elizabeth Center got some coats. They actually, from what I've heard, they have a really nice, it's almost like a little store. You can go in and pick out what you need, you buy size and type of garment, etc. They were very appreciative, and Usually the drive will run about a month. It was so popular last year, we just kept the coats coming in. We got some monetary donations to purchase some more coats, and we kept that program running well into winter. And thankfully, I think we were able to help some people, and looking forward to doing it again this year. And we also have a lot of fun. Every Sunday at Holy Family, different parish groups rotate the coffee and donuts service. 9 times out of 10, you're going to see some of the nights there anyway. But we have smiles and laughs. We serve at least 18 dozen donuts, which I didn't realize how many donuts that was until I actually saw it. But we do that every week. And, if you're a Catholic man, if you're over the age of 18 and you're curious about the nights, I would say come check out your local council, talk to your parish office, find out where the local council is, and just start attending some events, talk to the fellows that are there and see how the nights have impacted their life. As I said, I feel blessed to have been able to serve and to get to know these people at Holy Family and around the area. We just had our state convention in Springfield a couple weekends ago. You get to see guys from all over Illinois State. You hear about some of the challenges that face people in different parts of just our state. There are groups that have large numbers of immigrant populations and different ethnicities. And the one thing that all of these men want to do is they want to take care of their families, the people in their lives. And so they want to make sure that they can retire and to be able to take care of their families. They want to make sure they've got life insurance in place in case, the inevitable happens. And they also just want to get to know their community, get to know the people around them and help their neighbors and serve and just give back some of the blessings that we've all been so fortunate to receive.
Yeah, it is strictly and specifically a Catholic organization, correct?
Correct. So you can support us if you're not Catholic, of course. I mean, you can always find us if we're out and about doing something. You can give money at the Tootsie Roll Drive. Like I said, that money stays local to groups in the Rockford area. You can donate coats to us. You can just come say hi. I mean, you can stop by and get a donut. We don't card people at the door. If you come up, show up and just say hi to us and get a cup of coffee and a donut, we'll be happy to meet you. But, if you are a Catholic man over the age of 18 and you're curious to learn more, check out the website, come meet us in person. If you're a knight, maybe you've kind of stepped away for whatever reason, life happens, and you like to re-engage with your council and get to know the newer knights that are there, like me, come on, check us out, and you're always welcome. So there's always a way to help. And more importantly, not how you can help us, but how can we help you? So if you are in need somehow, call your parish office, ask, to speak with someone from the Knights of Columbus. We like to think of ourselves as the go-to guys. So we serve meals to veterans at the drop-in center here in town. We raise money for wheelchairs for people who can't afford them. We do a lot around. You may not even realize that it is Knights of Columbus focused, but we're just trying to serve and trying to help. So if we can help you, please let us know. It's part of our calling.
Good. Nice. So does your organization collaborate with any other Rockford organizations, whether it's other
Sure.
churches, Catholic or not, any other not-for-profits?
Yeah, absolutely.
Team up
Yeah.
with?
Yeah, so not just churches or anything, but the Special Olympics, we partner with them. So the spring games just happened over at Harlem High School, and a lot of us go out there and volunteer for a great afternoon with some really fantastic people. We do different things like announcing winners. We help as judges for the different competitions and things. And then, we do a lot of things interfaith as well. So you may be aware there's a billboard. It's down by the Cherryville Mall. And they, around Christmas time, they put up the Keep Christ in Christmas message. And so that's sponsored by different Knights of Columbus councils and various groups around. A lot of these groups, like the Rockford Family Initiative, they roll up just people that have the same faith-based ideas. It doesn't necessarily align with any one church or faith, but we're all working together, to serve the Lord in different capacities. And so we definitely work with, groups of various types.
Awesome. Want to make sure to bring up your organization's website here. KOFC.org is the website that we're looking at here right now. And I'll put the link in the chat. So if someone wants to check it out directly, it should be able to just one click away from you. If you're on YouTube or Twitch or Rumble or Facebook or LinkedIn, you should be able to get this coming right through right now. If you're on another platform, should be in the notes. Where faith, fraternity, and finances meet since 1882. Tom, there's another trivia question for you. Knights of Columbus has empowered Catholic men to put their faith into action. And that's really the basis of what you're up to, right? Putting faith into action and
Right.
being not just in the community, but in the community.
Right. If you want another fun fact, in 1882, out in Connecticut, Father McGivney, who's his cause for sainthood is currently being reviewed right now. So he's blessed Michael McGivney. But he started the Knights of Columbus. There was a need in the community. The men at the time were working in factories. A lot of them were immigrant labor. They worked the more dangerous jobs. And if the husband or the father was incapacitated or unfortunately killed while working, the widows and sometimes the orphans, they were out of luck. And so Father McGivney wanted to start a way to care for people who were in need financially. And so he and the first group of knights, if you dig that picture up online, it's pretty wild. It's like this, the fluffy mustache party from the late 1800s, which is wild. But it was a group of men who their focus was to care for the widow and the orphan and the people who are in need. And today, like I said, you see the little thing scrolling on the bottom there. I mean, the Knights raise a lot of money across the world. I mean, there are Knights in every country. And, we get magazines and newsletters periodically, and you can just see the great work that people are doing together around the world, whether it's disaster relief or aid for people in war areas around the world. The Knights, like I said, they're the go-to guys. They will help, and we'll figure out, how best to help if you are in need.
I'm totally asking out of complete naivety here. Is there a reason? Is there a specific reason why the group is called Knights of Columbus? Is there a history there that maybe?
Well, yeah, there is. I mean, in a nutshell. So at the time, the late 1800s, Catholics were facing, discrimination or bigotry, however you want to call it. And so Father McGivney wanted to find a symbol that we have the District of Columbia. We've got different countries and areas around that are all named after Christopher Columbus. And so the reason being that we're knights is, you've probably heard the term put on the armor of Christ. And so, we serve in a non-combat capacity, of course. But, if you are part of the fourth degree, the patriotic degree with the beret and the sword and everything, we do carry a sword, but it's obviously a ceremonial thing. But yeah, it's symbolic, but it's also an image that it conjures to your mind, a knight serving his king, his country, his lord. It's just a good type of thing.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool. I think that's one of those things that a lot of people, even a lot of lay people, don't kind of put two and two together. The fact that those who are believers serve a king, and are consider themselves part of a kingdom that's not an earthly kingdom. It's
right, absolutely.
Things that it's kind of
divine kingship.
Yeah, divine kingship. So that's one of those interesting things that some people don't probably even put two and two together until someone actually tells them all about it. There's Michael McGivney there.
There he is.
Founder that understood that men need brotherhood to stay faithful to God's mission. Now he's on path to sainthood. And is that? And that's maybe a broader question. Do you think that's something that's really missing in our culture? Is it more of a? I wonder if it's more of a United States type of a thing, or if it's a nationwide or a worldwide cultural thing where brotherhood seems to be kind of on the outs. It's just not.
Yeah, no, I fully agree. I mean, our culture, our current culture, is very self-focused. It's not even sound bites anymore. I mean, I'm sure you've seen it. It's quick TikTok videos and influencers, and you pay more time and energy watching what everybody else is doing, and you're focusing less on, how I can help. It's kind of like, Kennedy, ask not what your country can do for you, what you can do for your country. It's that selfless service, and we don't do it for accolades. We don't do it for any gratification other than knowing that our energies can be devoted to helping somebody who's in need. And that person can be anybody. We don't ask questions. If you're somebody in need and you come to us, like I said, we will help. If you're not even from the Holy Family area in Rockford, that's a very specific part of Rockford. Maybe you come from, the east or west side of town, wherever. There are councils all over. Council 470 is kind of the original council. So they start with the number 1. So Council 1 is out in Connecticut. That was the council that Father McGivney founded. And like I said, there are over 18,000 now. So we fall kind of in the latter part of the numbering scheme. But Council 470 has been around in Rockford for over 100 years. and they will help people at multiple parishes because they are, aligned with more, just, not just one parish. So if you find a night, or if you need help, and if we can't render help for whatever reason due to whatever it is, we will definitely help you get in touch. We do know each other and we talk together, and we will get you pointed in the right direction and do as much as we can to actively help you through whatever the challenge is.
Nice. Wanted to bring up the page here too for the Holy Family Catholic Church here in Rockford, and their page for Knights of Columbus, just so you can see that there's
and we're working on a Facebook page as well. So this podcast link will probably go up there when that gets rolling here, and hopefully in July.
Nice. Good deal. Very much appreciated there. So if someone wants to get involved, obviously we got links to these pages here that we've shared, but is there anything else that you would encourage people to plug into, whether it's connecting with you personally, calling the Holy Family? What would be a great place for people to plug in and get more information? And
yeah, absolutely. I mean, if Holy Family rings your bell and you say, oh, hey, I'm a parishioner there or whatever, yeah, feel free to call the parish office and just ask to speak with the Knights of Columbus. They can get you in touch with me personally by phone or email. I'm at the sort of the tail end of my term leading our council. So on July 1st, there'll be a new guy in charge. However, we all work together, and so if you need to get in touch with any one of us, we'll make sure that you can. Check out the website. Go to the kfc.org site. It's got a much better history lesson and a lot more factoids than I can dig up here. But as I said, just come meet us, talk to us. That's a really good way to learn how personally each of us has been impacted by being a part of this order.
Okay, good deal. Tom, you maybe you heard this too, and every time I've talked to them about the organization and the website, they say the website's went so fast it makes me think they're singing KFC like the
right. No, we don't do chicken. We do pancakes. We do donuts. We do fish dinners. If you got to get a fix on Friday night in Lent, come stop by any one of the parishes around the area. You'll get a really good fish dinner.
Yes.
Are your donuts figure looking good? That's all I want to know.
Absolutely, yes. You'd be surprised how many local places when you say, well, we need 18 or 20 dozen, they say, well, excuse me, what? Some places that's a pretty tall order. So we've had to do some shopping around to find a place that'll accommodate us. Currently, Schnucks. I'll put a plug in for Schnucks. Their bakery is great, and they accommodate us week over week.
Oh, it is. Absolutely, it is. Hey, quick question for you: are you stepping down as the director, or did you lose your re-election bid, or
yeah? So
or
we usually take a 2-year commitment. So my rotation will end here. We had our officer election, so I'll step down as the Grand Knight, and I'll go into what's called a trustee role. So it's just basically the 3 prior Grand Knights who can advise and answer questions. And just make sure that everything's going. The new guy, of course, he'll have questions and everything, and I've been doing it for 2 years, so it's kind of become second nature. So I've been working to get him up to speed on everything and give him all the lists of names and emails, because we still communicate largely by email. Some of our group are older and they read their emails and they don't do text messaging and social media, so we have to find the way that can connect us all. So yeah, it's not any kind of a bad thing. It's just that it just happens to be at the end of my rotation.
Okay. Well, before we transition into Tom's trivia and welcome in our next guest, is there anything that we did not ask you about today that you wanted to make sure to share, or maybe some kind of unique or hilarious thing that's happened with your group that would be a funny way to end the story of the Knights of Columbus here in Rockford?
Oh gosh, unique. I don't unique or funny. I mean, I could probably go into details. I'll end it on a kind of a wholesome. The website for Holy Family you showed. I mentioned blood drives. We also do blood drives. So Holy Family hosts a blood drive at least twice a year. We just did one in May. We'll do one again in September. So if again you're looking for a way to help out or to help your community, come donate blood. One donation can save up to 3 lives, and we definitely need that around the Rockford area with all the hospitals and the need for blood. So I'll just put a plug in for that too.
Yeah, that's I'm right there, a 10-gallon plus donor myself. So that's the big push that we often push here too, is, hey, if you can take an hour out of your day once every few months, it really makes a big difference. And they're always low, especially in the summertime. So
yes,
please get out and donate and do what you can. So awesome. Well, stay on the camera here because we are going to bring on our next guest and transition into this.
It's time for Tom's Trivia Challenge on the In Crowd 815 podcast. Good luck.
All right. We've got 7 questions this week from our man, Tom, and Haddon Anderson joins us on the screen too. Good morning, Haddon.
Good morning. Good to be here.
Space age Snoopy.
Don't forget Snoopy. Tom. That's right. That's the actual Snoopy you saw in the back seat of the car is this one right here. This was a gift from Miss Egg. So he joins us every week. I know you're like, what do we get ourselves in for here? Oh my God. Wow.
We're manly men, guys.
Oh,
Tom.
That's right. I play with long story
Tom
on the
his
whole
600
teddy bear,
stuffed
Snoopy
animals.
thing, whatever. 700 now.
700.
Seriously, 700. You can see a few of them up there, but mostly they're back there, over there, and whatever. And my wife has put a bunch of them in boxes. I'm like, you can't do that. They can't in boxes. She just looks at me funny. All right. Oh, enough of the seriousness. Let's get back to the good, the funny, the trivia. All right, here we go. Gentlemen, I will tell you this. These quizzes that I do are not designed to make you feel stupid. So if you do miss one, fine. A lot of people are going to miss 1, 2, maybe even 3. You're not stupid. If you walk away going, God, we only scored 4 points or 5 points. How come we didn't get them all? No, that's just the way it goes. Sometimes you're not even thinking trivia. You're just kind of whatever. All right. Here we go. I label these kind of something different. You'll figure it out. Very first one, the chicken or the egg, which came first? Here we go. Which came first, the Egg McMuffin or the McChicken sandwich?
Egg McMuffin.
Once again,
I feel good about that.
Going Egg McMuffin.
Oh, right out of the gate, you're going Egg McMuffin, huh? Are you sure you don't want to change that answer? No, I'm kidding. That's it. That is it, Egg McMuffin. 1975, McChicken introduced in 1980. The Egg McMuffin was actually figured out and put together all of it, whatever, in 1972. They finally got it out on the market in 1975, and then the McChicken came out in 1980. So yes, good job.
Have any of you guys watched the Foods That Made America? I think it's on Hulu. The documentaries. That's a pretty interesting stuff. I think this was one of them, or there's a fast food something or other in one of those episodes that talked about.
I have seen. I don't know about that episode, but I've seen the Foods That Made America. It's really good. I love it.
It's interesting
because it is very interesting. All right, question number 2: Run towards the light. I don't know if you two gentlemen are old enough for this. Greg and I are. There was a store called Kmart on every corner, much like Walmart is today. What was the sales given only to Kmart customers, where they had 10 to 15 minutes to cash in on the deal being offered? What did they call that?
Blue light special.
Hold off on it, Greg. Oh, there you go. Greg, I knew you knew that one anyway. So,
well, the question I have is, are either one of these guys old enough to have been in a Kmart store that had a blue light special?
Absolutely. Yeah, it was a special little cart that they would wheel out with the blue light on it. You'd have to go find it in the store.
Attention,
like
over in our.
He's like, yeah, what are you talking about, guys?
Bragger. You guys are a bunch of old guys.
So think of it this way, guys. Think of it this way, Haddon. Imagine walking into Walmart.
Yeah.
And you as soon as you walk in, you scan the store, and you know how the aisles are all basically the same height.
Sure.
In Kmart, they had this cart where the blue light would go above the aisles, like a cop light. It was like a blue cop light.
Yeah.
So you looked around and you looked where the blue light was at, and said, they're down in aisle 12, blue light special on toilet paper.
And they would get on the intercom of the store, and as soon as you heard them, you'd perk up and you'd listen. Oh, what are they going to say now?
It sounds like a good idea.
You get this mad dash to the sporting goods area. Attention to blue light. Attention to our shoppers.
We got 10% off
cool.
our toilet paper. Yeah.
Boy, Morris the Cat and Kmart in the same show.
That's right. That's right. Absolutely. Yeah, I had a good
viewers.
part already.
Yeah.
Or maybe you were watching. Maybe you know. Question number 3. Hey, Pops, you're old. All right. Which soft drink is older? Is it Coca-Cola or Dr. Pepper?
Ooh. I'm gonna go
Once
Dr.
again, hey, Pops,
Yeah, I'm gonna say
you're
Dr.
old.
Pepper.
Which soft drink is Dr. Pepper? Are we all in agreement?
Yeah.
Dr. Pepper.
So
That was not quite a real sure. Yeah. Dr. Pepper,
Yeah.
1885. Coca-Cola, 1892. Technically 1886 for Coca-Cola, but then it was marketed in 92 when it finally passed all of its, whatever. Not inspections, but you know what I mean. When they finally got it figured out and marketed, 1992. So yes, Dr. Pepper, good job. You guys are 3 for 3. All right.
woohoo!
Watch your language. In which country was Häagen-Dazs ice cream created? I get. You know what? I'm going to give you 2 options. I'm going to give you 2 options. Is it Denmark or is it the United States?
Wow.
I'm gonna say the United States.
Because I felt like it might have been Germany. So, but yeah,
I'll give Denmark some love.
Oh, okay. So we need a tiebreaker. Greg, I think you're the tiebreaker here.
Yeah. For some reason, I want to say I thought it had a German background. So I'm going to say the United States. I think someone who was of German descent created it.
Well, you are correct. It is the United States, but it wasn't for anything like that, I don't think. They basically said they wanted to give it a Danish sounding name. So, but it was the United States. That is your trick question of the day.
So it wasn't Farfanugan at all. It had nothing to do with
that was That was your blue light question of the day. All right. All right. Here we go. Hello, Mr. Mayor. You ready?
Mayor.
Before Jerry Springer became the ringleader of the afternoon fight, he was the mayor of a major metropolitan city in Ohio. What was it?
I believe it was Cincinnati.
Cincinnati or Columbus? I think Cincinnati's a good guess.
I believe you are correct. I'm not even going to let you go any further. You almost talked yourselves out of United States on Häagen-Dazs. I'm not making that mistake again. Nicely done. You're 5-0. All right. Now here's the headline of the question. Who are you working for? So you tell me what the question's about. Okay. In the CIA-based in CIA-based drama 24, Kiefer Sutherland plays the part of a CTU operative. What is the name of Sutherland's character? That's that famous "Who are you working for?" when he yells at the guy.
Jack Bauer.
Jack Bauer.
Jack Bauer is correct.
You knew that. I did not know that. Good job. All right.
Yeah, great job.
You guys are kicking.
That first season was must-see TV.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
First season of 24.
How many episodes did I watch? 0.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It's just I don't mind it. Kiefer Sutherland's I like him, but I just never watched it. I guess it was never on when I was available or something. I don't know. I had Teddy Bear Club when that show was on, so I couldn't attend. Yeah. You guys are gonna be scratching your head. You'll never guess, honey, what was on this morning with that guy with the questions. Oh my God! If he applies for Knights of Columbus, do not let him in. No, I'm kidding. Anyway, all right, here we go.
Here's our shot.
The only question that I have regarding Knights. Here you go. And I purposely did this, but it's not really related. All right, Auburn High School, as we all know, are the Auburn Knights. In what year did Auburn High School open for business? Was it 1960 or 1964? Once again, Auburn High School, they're known as the Auburn Knights. In what year did Auburn High School open for business? 1960 or 1964?
Yeah, I'll say 64. I mean, it's a coin toss for me because that's a little before I was in town.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when the East-West Rockford split off, and then they added Auburn. Was it next or was it after Guilford? I don't remember. But 64, I think, is the best guess. I'm on board with that.
I would like to give you a hint and say they're older than me.
Oh, well, they both are, aren't they? Oh,
Auburn and Guilford. Auburn and Guilford are 2 years apart.
Okay.
Guilford was
What year?
built the year I was born. Was Auburn after or before?
Oh gosh.
All right, too many hints there. It was 1960.
It was 60.
1960.
Okay.
And then Guilford opened in 62. They are pretty much identical schools, much like East and West. They're identical schools, but the gym and the cafeteria are opposite sides for both. But they're identical, same architect, same time they were built, 1940. Auburn and Guilford, pretty much identical schools as well, but 2 years apart. They had,
well, 6 out of 7 is worth throwing some confetti for. So let's throw some confetti.
Yes. Here, there you go. You got my computer again.
Yeah, that gets us in the running. That gets us in the running to win prizes, and we haven't released everything to the public yet, but we are letting everybody know that we went from a $7,000 grand prize in March's Mass Karaoke Trivia Contest, thanks to Medicare 411. It'll be an $8,000 grand prize coming up on October 1st, and we'll be releasing that information here shortly in the next couple of weeks, giving people a chance to sign up their teams to win $8,000 for their favorite not-for-profit, courtesy of Medicare 411 and our In-Crowd 815 Masked Karaoke Trivia Contest. And for those, again, who are hearing of this for the first time, you might be familiar with the Masked Singer television show. There's a little bit of inspiration from that for this contest, but the singers are not the masked portion of our contest. The actual teams, the not-for-profits that the teams are playing for, that's what's masked until the end of the night when we reveal the final scores, who the winners are, and what not-for-profits the teams were playing for. So if you want to wear a mask when you sing your karaoke, you're perfectly welcome to do that, but you don't have to. October 1st will be the next one at Tabala Event Center, and more details are coming soon. So Chris, we really appreciate you spending time with us today. Go ahead, Tom.
Thank you. It was great to be here. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh, we absolutely appreciate it. No, I was going to say the king of the squirrels, and I'm the king of the teddy bears, and I'm the else, but you are the king of the shameless plug. Always a segue. I love it.
Gotta plug that in there. That's right. Little sign above the head up there. So I'm getting really excited about putting this together again.
I was going to say, you guys do such great work, and you keep up the good work. It is amazing. It is amazing. Whenever you can help.
It's our
like
honor.
Greg says it. Yeah, like Greg says at the end of the thing, what do you say? You save a life when you help someone, or
you change the world when you help one person.
There you go. That's what he said. Yeah, there you go.
That's right. So
be a blessing and help someone today. Yeah,
absolutely.
So have a great weekend, Chris. Thanks for joining.
Yeah, you too. Great to see you, fellas. Take care.
Bye-bye.
You too.
As we switch gears to Haddon Anderson, who is a part, I should say, more than just a part. And he's technically is the executive director, the title that you carry there for Stateline Youth for Christ.
That's correct. It is.
Awesome. So Stateline Youth for Christ here in the 815. And before we get into all things Stateline Youth for Christ, let's learn about you a little bit. Where did you grow up and go to high school and all that fun stuff? Where's your origin story?
Yeah, I grew up right here in Rockford, right in the 815. So I went to Rockford Lutheran, graduated there in 2006. So yeah, born and raised here. Parents are still here. Know this community well.
Okay, so you might be young enough and / old enough to remember my last days on WQFL radio. Did you ever listen to the Afternoon Adventure on 101 and QFL?
Yeah. Was that 100.9?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I didn't realize that connection.
That was the connection. So yeah, my story of coming to Rockford basically was Christian radio, working at WQFL, WGSL radio. Right. So if you're going to faith-based school, you're probably listening to our faith-based radio station here in Rockford back in the day.
Yeah, I definitely listened to that some growing up, so I'm sure at some point I heard your voice on there.
Yeah, Afternoon Adventure on
Yeah.
Positive Hit Radio 101 QFL.
Yes, that's it. Yeah, Positive Hit Radio. I remember that line.
There we go. Before they sold to EMF and turned into Air One and
K-Love.
Yeah,
K-Love. Yeah, okay.
Before that, it was Positive Hit Radio 101 QFL and
Yes.
WGSL.
Yeah, both very good radio stations, but it's satellite piped in. It's not the same as good old-fashioned radio, which I came from before we started the podcast. COVID killed us. COVID nixed our radio careers, so that's why we're doing this here. But
yeah,
pretty much. So after high school at Rockford Lutheran, you were a crusader at Rockford Lutheran. What did you do after that?
Yeah, I went to college at a school called Cedarville University in Ohio. Okay. So yeah, had a great experience there. Was blessed with some great friendships. I played basketball there, so that was kind of a big part of my college experience. And also met my wife. So yeah, we got married not long after I graduated. We've been married for 15 years now. So yeah, so that was a really formative time in my life. I majored in sociology, which was an interesting major, but it actually led me to more school. So I actually did seminary at Moody in Chicago.
Cool.
Where my focus was on kind of intercultural and urban studies. So kind of ministry outreach in more urban settings. So that kind of became an interest of mine. And so, yeah. So after all that, I've now, we were, I was away from Rockford for about 6 years with college, graduate school. Have now been back in Rockford since about 2012. So yeah, and with Youth for Christ, this it'll be 10 years later in September. So yeah, so it's been a little while.
Did you ever meet Lee Rugen while at Moody?
Lee Rugen.
Lee Rugen was in the media department, like the radio side of things.
The name doesn't ring a bell. My time at Moody, I was commuting, so I didn't integrate super well into the campus life there. So yeah, the name doesn't ring a bell.
He worked with us at WQFL, WGSL radio, and it was just a super creative guy. And then Moody scooped him up. They needed him to help with their creative aspects of what they're doing on the radio. So Lee Rugen, super guy. I haven't seen him in years, but anyway, you brought up Moody. I had to ask.
Yeah, well, Moody Radio has a pretty long standing legacy, I think. So yeah
they sure do. So Stateline Youth for Christ, was there a Youth for Christ organization in Rockford before you came here? Or is it something you took over? Or is it something you started and initiated here in Rockford?
Yeah, something I took over. It's been in the community for really many years. And Youth for Christ USA has been around since 1944. It was originally founded by well-known evangelist Billy Graham. So there's kind of a rich history of Youth for Christ ministry across the country. But yeah, when I stepped in about 10 years ago, I definitely had a lot to learn, and we've been really thankful for ways we've been able to expand our reach in the community, and so it's been a fun journey.
Awesome. And when people ask you that have never heard of it before, how do you explain? What do you tell people about Stateline Youth for Christ? What does the organization do? Why do you exist? What is your mini speech when you tell people you want to know what it's all about?
Yeah, well, I usually talk about how we are seeking to reach young people who are often falling through the cracks, young people who are often without hope. So we're obviously a Christian organization. We are, interestingly, we're not trying to reach kids that are connected to churches already.
That's a good point.
Our target is we're trying to reach kids who likely are not connected to a healthy, godly adult leader, and might be void of such positive relationships in their life. And so our mission is very much set to try to target where young people are. So whether that's schools, youth centers, going to the juvenile detention center. We want to go to where young people are, and we want to specifically reach those young people who often might be void of hope in their life. And so we focus on building, we call them authentic Christ-sharing relationships, where we want to just extend God's love to young people. And we want to do that holistically. So that involves sharing the hope of who Jesus is and the power of the gospel message and Jesus's life, death, and resurrection. And then it also can mean just coming alongside them where they are and providing a meal, teaching a life skill, having fun. So our different outreaches are kind of all geared to target youth in that type of way.
It seems to me that the culture shift has begun. Especially these last couple of years, and maybe you can tell me I'm looking through rose-colored glasses, or maybe not. But it seems to me that the youth are starting to say, you know what, there's things going on beyond what I see and feel and understand, and I need to plug into that. There seems to be, I don't know if this is technically a revival yet, but it sure seems like the beginnings of one.
Sure. So there's actually some interesting research that's been coming out on Gen Alpha, which is the generation that I believe is about 15 and younger. And spiritually, it's being referred to as an open generation. And kind of what is meant by that is some past generations, including my own millennials, can often carry some negative postures towards faith, towards the church, and perhaps there's been some negative dynamics that have contributed to that, and some of those might be warranted for why there have been some concerns from older generations. And there's in some ways been some of those older generations that there's been maybe a bit of an exodus from the church or from faith. The interesting thing is now with Gen Alpha, in some ways, it's kind of like a blank slate. Where maybe these negative postures are not as prevalent. Obviously, there's many exceptions to these different categories, but generally speaking, some of what you're referring to is we're looking at the opportunity to minister to young people with a lot of hope. That there's openness to conversations about God. There's openness to conversations about faith, and I think that young people are often just searching for meaning. I think that a lot of what's happened even through COVID and a lot of the connections that maybe they've formed even just through devices, there's a lot of research that's coming out on some of the negative effects, even just on brain development of just the kind of the phone-based childhood that many young people are growing up with, that it's pretty concerning. And so we know as a part of our ministry, we want to try to create more of like embodied experiences and life together and getting kids off devices and relationship with one another. And so, I mean, that's kind of a long answer to your question, but we see a tremendous opportunity in front of us.
As much as I want people to watch our podcast and get information from what we're doing here, I sure hope people are seeing the value in face-to-face communications and person-to-person activities and stuff, and putting the phones down and away and living life. And part of that is plugging into a group like yours. If somebody wants to plug into what you guys do, what is step one, I guess, to be involved and plug into Stateline Youth for Christ?
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess it depends on what level. For any young person that wants to get connected, it's completely free. We have different ministries. I see you're there on the website, so you're clicking on City Life right now. So we actually just in the last year we opened up a youth center in the heart of Rockford. So our City Life Center is located on Charles Street in very close proximity to East High School, as well as Lincoln Middle School. And for us, this has been really a dream development in a perfect location. Many of the youth that we serve over the years often can have transportation issues. And so the fact that we can be positioned right near local schools and neighborhoods is a huge win for accessibility for youth, even for kids from other, local Rockford public schools. we're kind of centrally located and accessible. So we have programs that run throughout the week that any young person is able to come and get connected to. And then, if there are, older adults that potentially could be leaders here, we're always looking for different volunteers that would align with our mission that want to come and serve in some capacity. And we have opportunities outside of City Life too. We have a growing campus life ministry that our campus life ministry kind of targets some of the surrounding areas and local schools. So we've had that ongoing in the Harlem School District for years now. And we are actually this year launching in Freeport. So we're really excited about that. And our hope would be to target some other communities as well. So there's a number of different ways to get involved.
Okay. I see. It feels to me like I'm seeing a lot of similarities between what you do and what Rock House Kids does for the young kids. This seems like maybe an age up from some of what Rock House Kids does. I'm being very generalized here, but have you partnered with them at all? Is there any kind of connection there?
We think the world of them. They do phenomenal work. Yeah, I've been over there and highly respect that ministry. And yes, there are definitely similarities in our work. Probably the difference. I know they have outreach to elementary school kids as well. Our focus is middle school and high school. So I mean, that would be one distinction, but both committed Christian organizations that want to extend God's love to young people.
Do you have any collaborations with other organizations or ministries here in Rockford that is kind of an ongoing thing, something that you're or even still fostering and beginning right now?
That definitely can happen. I mean, we do connect with a number of local churches that will partner with us or bring meals or things like that. But I could speak even specifically to another nonprofit, the Pregnancy Care Center.
Yeah.
We've partnered with them because one of our evenings at the City Life Center is more life skills focused. And so they have actually come over here and run their Positive Choices program. And so that's been a neat collaborative relationship. And so, where our missions and visions, align, we look for those collaborative opportunities.
Awesome. What else, what else is on the top of your needs list right now? Obviously getting this center opened and everything has been a huge, undertaking and years in the making. So that's really cool to see that, open up and the doors open now and getting things moving. What I guess everyone wants to know, right? What's the next thing on the horizon? What's the next big goal for Stateline YFC?
Sure. Yeah, it's a great question. And our vision for City Life and for having this youth center was definitely years in the making. And so we're really thankful for what the Lord's provided. And it definitely took a lot of work and time to get to this point. So as this is getting more and more established, we are kind of praying and dreaming towards some of our next moves. So, I mean, you heard a bit of that when I mentioned Freeport. And so we're really excited for the favor that we have with the local schools and some churches that are excited about our campus life ministry getting going in that area. And as we've seen that start to take off, we're really intrigued at the thought of launching more and more campus life sites surrounding Rockford. So that's something that I'm starting to just talk about more and more. If there's a surrounding community, such as, a Belvedere, a Stillman Valley, a Byron, a Beloit, really any community that would say, hey, we love, what's happening with Youth for Christ. And we see this happening in Rockford or in the Harlem schools or Freeport. What do we got to do to get that in our community? We're itching to have those conversations. And, we feel like even with what's developed some in recent years, we kind of have a bit of a model of how we're pursuing that growth. And so we would love to be able to extend that into additional communities and believe that, that type of ministry presence can have a very powerful impact on young people in a really important stage of life. We can all remember our middle school and high school years and maybe how awkward it was or how challenging it was. And the opportunity for us to be able to invest in young people's lives during that critical stage, I think is incredibly important. And so we would be thrilled to be able to expand our reach outside of Rockford into more and more communities.
So it's truly state line. You're looking to be involved in Southern Wisconsin too.
Yeah, yes, you know, and it's I'm glad you mentioned that, because I think years ago we almost were kind of like, you know, Stateline, should that be our chapter name? You know, should it be just kind of like Rockford area, or but you know, as the years have gone on, I think we want to lean into that name more. So yeah, like Beloit would be a community that, you know, we would love to connect with at some point.
Okay. Sometimes I like to ask organization leaders if is there a misconception about your organization that maybe people you've seen more often than, you know, a few times here and there, that is out there that you can maybe dispel about the organization? Any kind of misconceptions about what Stateline Youth for Christ is and does, and you're like, no, actually this is really who we are and what we do?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, sometimes it might be that, you know, obviously our name, and, you know, we hold fast our name and being Youth for Christ, but sometimes maybe what the misconception could be that we're here to just serve like Christian kids. And, you know, the reality is, you know, we welcome all young people, and obviously our mission, our hope is to introduce them to who Jesus is and his love for them. But we're not like a Christian club, you know, that just Christian kids are coming to gather. We're trying to reach all young people. Anybody's welcome to walk through our doors. So that would be one thing. And then probably on, you know, the other side would probably be, sometimes people maybe think we're a church. And, you know, we're not a church in the sense that we have, you know, like a Sunday, you know, worship gathering. We would be a parachurch ministry, so that, you know, we partner with local churches. But, you know, we serve just 11 to 19-year-olds. You know, that is our kind of laser focus. And our hope would be that as they get connected to our ministry and they hear about Jesus, and if their lives are transformed, that one day they would get connected to a local church community. But we in and of ourselves are not functioning as a local church. So maybe those are a couple things that at times we need to distinguish.
Well, you're essentially planting the seed is what you're doing. That's a good thing. I have a question that kind of banks on what you're talking about. I don't know how sensitive a subject this might be, but when you're out there talking to kids and this and that, do you get a lot of blowback from people that say, well, there is separation of church and state, which of course is the biggest misnomer of all. Completely not true. What do you say to those types of people? How do you handle that?
Yeah, I mean, you know, the thing that I'll really highlight there is, you know, we're a very, I would say, relational ministry. So, you know, we really build strong relationships with kids. So do we talk about faith? Absolutely. But we also are kind of discerning on the timing, the whereabouts of that, and just kind of our overall approach. And so, we try to not, you know, have postures that could potentially, you know, rub people in the wrong way or be controversial. And we believe, you know, we want to try to model, you know, Jesus's posture of love and truth in that. And so I can't honestly say that we've received a ton of blowback over the years. And, you know, in some ways perhaps our name does help at times, that you know, we're known that we're a faith-based organization. So that's just going to be a part of the equation at some point. And I think people know and expect that. And, you know, probably for the most part, in my experience, you know, like if we ever connect with parents, and they seem to be very pleased and grateful that people are willing to have these conversations with their kids. So,
well, because I think what they see is they see love. They see that you're coming in there trying to show them love, whether it's Jesus' love or just, you know, love for another human being, or I want you guys, so, you know, we're going to provide meals or pamphlets or whatever for you guys, more than a lot of the parents can do. So I think it's a wonderful answer. I absolutely love that, because this is what's so needed. And you're right. It's not, I can tell just by talking to you that you guys are not overpowering. I don't like these like street ministries that go, you need Jesus now. You're all going to hell. You need Jesus now.
Right.
Yeah, that may be true in a sense, but it's not the way you water that flower or germinate that seed. It's not the way it
Right.
works. Everything has a process. So
Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, you won't tend to see those types of evangelistic methods from us because we're building relationships, and yeah, so that's our heart and our approach.
Well, we've got the events page here, or got upcoming events here on your website. You got support YFC by eating chicken. Thank you, Hangry Joe's has been since they've come to town, they've been supporting a lot of great things. Kudos to Hangry Joe's. Your golf outing coming up in August as well. So there's a couple opportunities here to support what Stateline Youth for Christ is doing. Wednesday, June 24th, 5 to 8 p.m. Fly by there, Hangry Joe's on East Dayton. And by the way, the hot chicken and wings, yeah, you can get the really spicy stuff, but not all their stuff is crazy spicy. And I'm a guy who doesn't like spicy, so it's still there are less spicy options at Hangry Joe's.
They did have me and another staff member on a few months ago for they call it the Angry Hot Challenge.
Oh, no thanks.
I did not do well. I embarrassed myself.
I'm not that guy.
Would you get 2 wings in or what?
I mean, they started with medium, and I thought that was brutal. And then they went up to hot and angry hot. By the time I got to angry, I was just taking a nibble.
I can handle hot, but not too much. If the hot overpowers the flavor, it's pointless. And if the flavor overpowers the hot, it's not hot enough. It's got to have a good mix.
I agree.
I'm not about punishing myself. That's not my thing.
Right. When your lips are blistering and your tongue is burning and you're like, I can't talk, I feel like I've been at the dentist, then that's pretty bad.
Not fun anymore.
Nope.
And you've got Montecito Country Club hosting your golf outing here coming up in August. So if someone wants to plug into that, August 24th, that's a Monday. Spend your Monday, August 24th out at Montecito supporting Youth for Christ. So there's some fun stuff to do there.
Yeah.
I've been doing a thing, and before we let you go, I've been doing a thing, asking AI to give me questions for our guests. So our AI questions of the week this week, I want to see how we did. And let me get back to your main page here. We'll bring that up.
Sure.
So the first of these 3 questions is the why behind the work. Youth today face a completely different set of challenges, says AI. Different set of challenges than generations past, making the mission of Stateline Youth for Christ more critical than ever. When you look at the Rockford region, what is the biggest positive breakthrough that you're seeing in teenagers' lives when they connect with your programs? Can you kind of put a finger on something like that as far as a big positive breakthrough in their lives when they plug into a YFC?
Yeah, well, I think, if we're just looking at young people today, they're growing up in a really challenging time and confusing because they have so much at their fingertips. I mean, you mentioned AI, they can search for answers to anything with AI, and it's instant. Yeah. And oftentimes it's very well said and informed. Yet at the same time, what's absent is a loving human being that's going to be interacting and caring for you. And in many ways, that's, I think, how God's created us to be in a relationship. And so I think as youth are growing up in this kind of confusing time, I think we have an opportunity to kind of counter some of that with creating spaces where they can kind of have more embodied experiences, where they can sit at a table, phone to the side, and actually have a conversation with an adult. And they can ask for feedback on difficult life questions that they're having. And maybe it's not this instant reply on a screen, but maybe there's eye contact and there's visible love that's being shared, and then ultimately truth that's pointing them to hope found in God. So we think that there's a tremendous opportunity before us to kind of counter much of what youth are experiencing, and not just youth, really all of us in the world we're living in. But even like a microcosm of what I'm describing is in a few weeks, we will take kids to camp. And this also often becomes a really powerful experience. Last year, we took like 96 kids to camp, and the majority of the kids that we take, likely otherwise probably wouldn't have a camp experience. And so it's really powerful to get them outside of Rockford and in God's creation. And one of the things that happens at camp is we actually take their phones. And as you can imagine, on the front end, that can be a thing. And the kids often don't like that. What's interesting is usually by the end of the experience, they realize that they didn't really miss it. And they actually enjoyed just the laughter, the fun, the joy of being in God's creation, the messages that were shared, the conversations that they had. And I think that right there is kind of a window into how God has created us and the types of opportunities we want to create more and more for young people. So, I guess that would be my response to your question and the challenges that are in front of us today.
Yeah. Yeah. AI is not going to hand you a nice chicken sandwich from Hangry Joe's. It's not going to happen. So having the connection, very important. So, which actually leads to question number 2 that it gave me. Every great nonprofit journey is fueled by individual moments of transformation. Can you share a specific story of a local Stateline youth whose trajectory completely changed because of mentorship, community, guidance that they got from YFC?
Yeah, I'll just, I can speak to a young man. I won't include his name, but I just was interacting with him the other day at our City Life Center. And I remember another staff member and myself had met him through a couple of years ago. We were playing some basketball at Roosevelt, the alternative school in town. And we had gotten to know this young man and comes from a pretty difficult background and not a ton of support in his life. And but a kid that you could just tell, soft heart, and was really just open to connecting with us and building relationships. So he actually ended up coming to camp a couple of years ago, and I think that was really powerful for him. And we've watched this kid, and there's been, I'm sure that there's bumps at times along the way, but this kid who has not come from much now has his own apartment. He's working a job. He's going to church. And you're like, wow. I mean, the ways that he's responded and reaches out and wants to stay connected in relationship with us. And he's now launching into young adulthood. And, I think those connections, with us at Youth for Christ and even the church he's now connected with have been so important and giving him direction and purpose in life. And so, I sense that God's just been faithful over that young man's life, and he's used us to play a role in that. And I think our hope would be to see more and more such stories like that of life change and transformation happen in our city.
There's a couple of testimonials there on your website too. So statelineyfc.org, we've got that link in the chat so people can click on that and read more about some of the testimonials and transformations that have taken place. The third question here, the final one here, was talking about for the leaders, the business owners, the neighbors here in the 815 that are listening right now, is there a good a single most impactful way that they can get involved or support your mission and fuel the momentum of where Stateline Youth for Christ has been going here these last few years?
Sure. Well, I mean, we're obviously always looking for generosity from folks that support our mission and see the impact, see the value in what we're doing, and sharing God's love with young people and going back to where I started, reaching young people who are falling through the cracks. So if people want to get involved, whether that's on a volunteer level of being a ministry leader that's present at a ministry site, providing a meal, or if they want to provide a donation in some capacity, or a sponsorship for something like a golf outing, or we have an annual banquet in the spring. There's plenty of different opportunities, and I'd certainly be happy to meet with anyone if they'd want to discuss those types of opportunities. So yeah, we need all different forms of support to make our mission possible, whether that's time, talent, or treasure.
We'd love to have a team playing for Stateline Youth for Christ at our next Mass Karaoke Trivia Contest. So hopefully that'll be on somebody's radar and say, okay, we want to name Stateline YFC as the not-for-profit we're playing for. October
That's cool.
1st. So we'll throw that out there too as a possibility.
Sure.
All right. So the last question I got for you, and we'll let you go. I always ask AI to give me some funny or odd questions to ask our guest every week too. And of the three it gave me, this one I think stands out the most. A youth culture. Haddon, youth culture moves fast, especially when it comes to language. So if a student walks into a Stateline Yfc meeting and looks at you and what you're wearing, and he says, "Hey, Haddon, I see you. That's low key, giving main character energy, no cap." Are you thanking them, or are you calling security, or are you just Googling what they just said?
That's a great question. Yes, these types of things do happen. I actually sometimes like to use their phrases then back at them, which I think instantly makes it uncool. But I still like to do that. But if I was very confused, I would probably just say, "Hey, like, did you just compliment me? Like, tell me what just happened here. Interpret. I'm not quite keeping up. So yeah, I'd probably just be really direct with him. But I enjoy keeping up with the lingo. Occasionally I learn something with YFC, and then I have 3 kids, and I might then take it home and use it with them, and they probably cringe. But, yeah.
Just when you think you got some of this language stuff figured out, the new stuff comes around, and you're like, I have no idea what you're talking about. So since you're speaking a different language, can you please translate?
Now old hat.
Yeah, it is kind of, although that kind of hung on for much longer than what I would have anticipated.
Well, it's like Facebook, once the older generations catch on,
keeps going.
Then it keeps going for a little bit longer, and that just gives young people something to groan about.
Yeah.
I substitute teach up at Rock County Christian School, and one of the very first days I was there, "Hey, Mr. Tom, how tall are you?" They were excited to say 6'7".
Oh,
like,
okay.
No, I'm not falling for it. 6'3".
Yeah, that's funny.
And they're like, "You're 6'7"? No, I'm not 6'7".
You have to be pretty tall to be 6'7".
That's a tall.
Yeah.
Well,
I wouldn't be doing that. You're playing some basketball.
Right. All right. Well, is there anything else that we did not ask you about today that you wanted to make sure we get out there? Hopefully, I think we've plugged your upcoming events pretty well, and an overview of what your ministry is. Anything else that you want to add before we let you go?
No, I don't think so. No, I think great questions. I enjoyed this. Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Well, we really appreciate
Thank
what
you
you're doing.
Do. Yeah,
absolutely.
Highly admired Stateline Youth for Christ for years, and to see what you've done over the last decade has been really, really impressive. So kudos to you, and let's keep in touch. All right.
Sounds great. Sounds great, Greg and Tom. Yeah, keep in touch.
Thanks, Haddon.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right. What a show. And it's almost time to go.
What a show. You're right. Yeah.
So,
yep.
Let's take a look at our big number of the week this week. By the way, Greg is in the lead by a score of 9-7. Could this be it?
Just shoot me. Just put me out of my misery, and we'll move on.
Put him out of his
Live to fight another day.
I gotta double check here what the answer was, because you gave me your guess, and it's funny. Which by the way, it's funny that you used V again, because next week here on the In Crowd 815 podcast, we're going to be chatting with the VANVLEET Family Foundation.
Nice.
Right here in the 815. Yeah, Susan's going to join us. And for those who maybe don't know, Susan is Fred's mom, and she's one of the leaders of the VANVLEET Family Foundation.
Nice.
So, big number of the week. Is it Geek or Grogu? You throw out the word Vrogu to reference something we did funny a long time ago. But here's your big graphic for the week this week. Let me get rid of this on the screen so you can see the whole thing, and let me get rid of this on there so you can see the whole thing. And all right, so okay, so You chose Grogu. Two horror movies directed by YouTubers are crushing it at the box office here lately. I don't think either one of us are into horror movies, right? You're not into horror movies.
Absolutely not. No.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of horror scary movies. Curry Barker has a movie called Obsession, and Kane Parsons has a movie called Backrooms Obsession. And this Kane Parsons movie, it costs him less than $1 million to make. He made this movie for less than about $750,000 is what he spent to make this movie called Backrooms Obsession. And it is beating Disney's The Mandalorian and Grogu at the box office. And Disney made $165 million with their movie. So, I mean, the return on investment is huge for this YouTuber guy who made this movie. Back in January, a YouTuber named Markiplier Fishbach made a movie, and his horror sci-fi video game adaptation, Iron Lung.
Say that last name again.
His name is Markiplier Fishbach.
Okay. I thought you meant his last name was Markiplier Fishbach. You're like, okay.
Markiplier.
All right.
I don't know how much he made with his movie, but these YouTube guys are killing it in the box office, which is kind of amazing and pretty darn cool. So 3.5 billion has nothing to do with Grogu. Sorry, I'm going to take the point and take the victory on this race to 10. Do you remember an app called Rec Room?
No, I do not.
REC, Rec Room, is now shut down. And once upon a time, Rec Room was worth $3.5 billion. The geeks were all over this platform playing games. It was founded in 2016, and at its peak, it had 150 million players who were creating their own games, and items for the platform's virtual college campus. And yet it failed to become profitable, largely due to the fact it only took 30 cents of each dollar earned from the player-made content. They were trying to be generous, and unfortunately, they ended up, not being able to pay their own bills. Rec Room allowed players to export their data and all their avatars before they shut down, but they are now shut down. Similar platforms that have also shut down include Meta. The Meta's Horizon Worlds and AltSpace VR. Those things, looked very favorable, like they were going to be taken off, and they just haven't yet. They were probably ahead of their time. They'll probably come back. VR Chat has stated they're not going anywhere, according to GeekWire, the GeekWire magazine. VR Chat is still doing its thing, and obviously it should get even more popular now that these other ones are shutting down, because where are these people going to go? So online gaming, it's just changing. It's morphing. It's turning into new cool things. And that's the answer this week. So there's the race to 10. It is over. I completed it. Quick shout outs for this week. Want to say a shout out to the Rockford Rotary Club. Thanks to them they had me as a visitor come out a few weeks ago and then asked me to come back as a speaker. So I got to present to Rockford Rotary Club this past Thursday. They meet at the Veterans Memorial Hall every Thursday at noon. They got a great group of folks that do good work here in the 815. And so I shared the history of the In Crowd 815 podcast and how we came into being and from radio to the podcasting world and all that fun stuff. So thanks to them for having me for that. Want to give a shout out to our partners, Fresh Prince of Loves Park, because I asked them about a week ago to rush order some t-shirts for me, because I needed to get some special have some t-shirts made for Starlight Theater hometown night at the theater. 815 night was Thursday, and I wanted to get these shirts to promote In Crowd, and they turned them around in a couple of days. It was awesome. So kudos and thanks to Fresh Prince of Loves Park and our InCrowd815.com merch site. When you go to InCrowd815.com, there is a tab to go to the merch site and order shirts, and we got some great stuff there. And then, of course, as I mentioned, Starlight Theater, Wizard of Oz continues today. with a 2:00 matinee, 8 o'clock show tonight. But if you miss it, come back in July. We'll be back for a run in July as well. So,
all right. I would like to add something to that.
Yeah.
Greg, you did a good job as the coroner. You were amazing, and you were like quirky, and I think because your movements and this and that, and I'm thinking back, I've seen The Wizard of Oz no less than 100 times, 200 times, whatever, and you were spot on. The coroner was kind of quirky with his glasses and his weird hat, and I pronounce her dead, and it was, I'm like, oh my God. But you said something to me last week. You said, when you close your eyes, when Dorothy starts to sing, it's like you're watching The Wizard of Oz on TV. Obviously, none of us were around for the big screen, but at least I wasn't.
It's Judy Garland all over again.
It is amazing. Folks, I'm going to tell you, it is an absolutely wonderful show. Well done. I didn't see a flaw. I did not. I'm sure there were flaws. I'm sure there were, of course. But the staff is very good at covering if there were any flaws. Oh my God, was it an unbelievable? And was Dorothy ever unbelievable? And Toto practically stole the show. Holy cow! That little
I will tell you
dog
something.
was so adorable.
I will tell you, Tom, in some rehearsals, there were some times we were wondering, is this dog going to cooperate? Because he was getting, well, here's the thing. Consider this. We're doing all these rehearsals, right? And then all of a sudden we introduce the costumes into rehearsals. So now we all look like different people. So the dog's barking at the wizard, and they're like, why are you wearing that hat? It's weird. You're you're stranger danger.
But Toto was barking at the wizard in The Wizard of Oz. So it's almost like it was perfect. I'm saying for the production itself, it was unbelievable. And the way that Dorothy, Imogene, picked up Toto looked just like Dorothy, Judy Garland, picking up Toto, and the way her voice, like, you're a mean, bad man, or whatever, she's petting him and soothing him. It was, oh my, it was so unbelievable. Folks, this is not hyperbole. I enjoyed myself, and it actually brought chills up my spine, even a tear to my eyes when I saw scenes in the later. I don't want anything away. It is an amazing performance, and I'm not much for musicals, but I did like The Wizard of Oz. I did. I've always watched it. As a kid, we used to watch it every April, right around tornado season. Nice. On CBS. We would sit around as a family, eat popcorn, and watch it. And it was unbelievable. And this kind of brought me back to that time. So kudos. Well done. Well done. So
I got to admit,
go ahead.
Well, like you say, Imogen as Dorothy and Seth as the Cowardly Lion. You could kind of, and of course Toto, that you could kind of say they kind of steal the show, and they're really, really bright lights in this whole thing. They're so spectacular, and a big reason why they can steal the show is that the talent around them is so amazing. The Scarecrow, the Tin Man, the Wizard, the Guard, everything is just so well done. And of course, at Starlight Theater, again, for those who maybe have never gone out there before, it is as close to a Broadway production as you can possibly get here in Rockford, with volunteers and community volunteers. It's the costumes. The costumes are so great. The set design, the lighting, the painting on the set is so top notch. The talent we have here is so good, and it's kind of hard to believe this is my 10th show at Starlight. I've been doing shows since 2018, and if you'd have told me in 2018 I'd do 10 shows, I'd be like, yeah, right. It's just so well done and so much fun that if you can't get out there to see it today, come back in July. We run again July 8th through the 12th. So Wednesday, July 8th through Sunday, July 12th, you'll have those chances again to see the show. Wednesday, the July 8th and 9th shows are Wednesdays and Thursdays. Wednesday and Thursday. Those shows start at 7:30, so not quite as late. And then the Friday, Saturday, Sunday show will be 8 p.m. And it is a little bit better later because of the darkness. You want the lighting effects work better when it's a little bit darker outside.
Yeah.
So
and it was kind of weird at the beginning. I will tell you this: at the beginning, there's a mesh screen, and that's for black and white effect. And then all of a sudden, the screen goes up, and then you see the light. But I would be remiss if I didn't mention Scarecrow and Tin Man. The costumes were phenomenal. They were good, and the actors were so good. But the Cowardly Lion stole the show. I mean, he was amazing. You're right, between Dorothy, Toto, and the Cowardly Lion, and then but everything top to bottom was. You're right. It was the closest thing you'll get to a Broadway play. Never seen a Broadway play, but I don't need to. I've seen one now. I've seen The Wizard of Oz at Starlight Theater. So one shout out I have, Mulligans for mental illness. Greg, you and I will be there Monday. I don't know, in Danielle's letter to me, or email to me, she said we are full up. I don't know as if they would turn anybody away, because you can always, I don't know. Maybe they would. But you could also still donate. If you've got $125 sitting around that, you don't need, Mulligans for mental illness could definitely use it. NAMI, yep, and it's a wonderful organization. I've been somewhat affiliated with them for now 3 years. I do their trivia events, and Greg, this will be our second time doing the golf event, and it's just wonderful. And Danielle Angelari, I know she's very, very modest, doesn't like her name out there and all that. She is one of the most wonderful. She is so sweet. She is the type of person that never complains, is never not smiling. I'm sure people in her sphere would say, "Oh yeah, well, you haven't seen her on a bad day." Well, it doesn't matter. You haven't seen any of us on a bad day. So, anyway, so Danielle's a wonderful person, just an absolutely gem of a human being, and her mom is awesome too. Her mom is Tina. She runs specialty engraving, and that's where I get all my trivia trophies done. Oh, and my fantasy football champ trophy, she made that for me too. It's really cool. But anyway, that's all I wanted to tell you about was Mulligans for Madness, and it is coming up on Monday. So it's at Forest Hills Country Club. So
very good. Very good. Well, again, next week, the VanVLEET Family Foundation. We'll talk with Susan, and big time thank you to Haddon from Stateline Youth for Christ, and Chris from the Knights of Columbus Council 13123 out of Holy Family Church for joining us today on a very faith-based In Crowd 815 podcast this week.
Yeah, it was. By the way, I sent you a picture. It's of Fred, myself, and Alex Gary, my former co-host on the sports show you have before you and I did our thing.
Very good.
So I sent it to you so you can upload it next week.
We'll see if we can get that on the show next week.
Okay.
So. All right, friends. Remember, you change the world when you help one person be a blessing to someone today and every day this week. We'll meet you back here next week for another In Crowd 815 podcast. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
815 In Crowd, 815 In Crowd, 815 In Crowd, 815 815